fancy setup you got here. It took
Oh,
me a
you like
second
this?
to figure it out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we always have to do Chrome. I'll show you. Hold on, my background. I'm gonna put Rico backstage because it's gonna be a little one-on-one. But this is my buddy Rico.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah,
Good.
and then we're gonna be recording this. But then this is my 3-person setup, and then my 2-person setup goes like this.
No.
Don't worry, you're still around.
Slick.
Yeah, dude. Where in the world are you right now?
Birmingham.
Birmingham.
England or
Birmingham,
Alabama?
England, because you're on this European tour.
Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Yes.
Home of the Peaky Blinders, as it were.
Oh yes. You look
Ah.
like you could be cast in that show, dude.
Flick
Yeah,
the hair
that'd be
back a
good.
little bit.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well,
Get a
dude,
flat cap.
you should buy one anyways while you're there. Is it when you go over to Europe, is there any kind of like trinkets or keepsakes of tourist stuff that you like to buy and bring home?
No, I like to keep it light on the road, to be honest. I try to buy like as little as possible. It just stacks up, and then you have to get like a duffel bag and fly it home. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean, you could maybe mail some stuff back, but first off, I want to congratulate you on Grief Chapter. It's one of my favorite albums of yours. And yeah,
Thank you.
it's immediately popped in the top 3, to be honest with you. And I took a bunch of notes on this album that I wanted to share with you. Like, one, this album from beginning to end, to me, feels like and sounds like this is an album that doesn't have too many outside influences. I feel like, to me, this album sounds like it's 100% inspired by Mother Mother. Like, literally, you're in your element, in your sound, without any outside influence. So, yeah, how do you feel this album kind of like portrayed sonically? Do you feel like that I'm kind of hitting on something there?
Yeah, that's totally correct. I mean, you always strive to do that, and then the waters can get muddied by the chirping choir of people who have opinions. But yeah, we kept it very barred down on this one, self-produced, and in Vancouver. Kind of just locked ourselves in the Warehouse Studios, beautiful space, Brian Adams' studio in
Nice.
Gastown, Vancouver, and we were there for like 100 days, which is absurd. That's just a long time to make a record. And so we had the resources to be super indulgent and to be very picky, and to make ourselves happy. That was the mandate. It was like we came first on this
Yeah.
record.
Well,
Yeah.
when you go in and lock yourself in the studio for 100 days, do you go in there with kind of like the skeleton of each song already written, or were you writing songs from scratch when you booked the studio time?
No, everything was written. So like, yeah, prior to that, I mean, gosh, it was like months and months, if not over a year of being really militant with the writing and really
Mhm.
disciplined, like even on the road, because we've been touring like crazy over the last couple of years. So writing this record was like in hotel rooms after the show in Prague or whatever, for months and months and months, and then coming home and trying to like lay out the architecture so it was super clear, and then going into the studio and starting like day one of those 100 days. And it was a great blueprint, but once you're in there, you do kind of tear things apart again and build them
Right.
back up. Yeah.
Well, I do feel like some of those songs are kind of like campfire songs, like written around the campfire. Most specifically, like Grief Chapter, the title track, which initially when I first listened to that song, I almost got scared and sad for you and Molly. I thought your like mom passed away or something, because of the lyrics. But I read somewhere that Grief Chapter, the concept of the entire album, was actually about a friend whose dad passed away. Is that correct?
Not the entire album. That song was born from an exchange I had with a buddy whose dad had passed away and whose friends were dying around him. My friend himself is 70 years old, so he's an old guy. So he was kind of, yeah, in this moment of life where death was, in all corners. And I said to him, it sounds like you're in a grief chapter. And he, being a songwriter, said, I am, but more importantly, that sounds like a great title for a song, and you should write it. And so I put down the phone and basically just like ripped what he said in the conversation. Like the whole part of the song where he's like, where it says, "I feed my mother and she looks like an angel." That was all just what he said.
Oh
And
wow.
so it was cool. It was sort of like the song was already written. It was like in the air. It was like in the guitar, just waiting for that exchange on the phone to finish. One of those songs where like you felt like it came from a different realm or something.
Right, like it was gifted to you in a way, just in the moment.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, I love
And
that.
yeah, and it just tied into like all the death speak on the record. I don't know, for whatever reason, like mortality was just the theme that unearthed itself. Like I don't really write premeditatedly. I don't think I'm going to write about death for this record and then start like, a mood board or anything like that. I just kind of get into the space, the creative space, and just let the words, the themes just materialize. And for whatever reason, this whole death concept was really loud, organically.
Is it because we're getting older, you feel?
I think, yeah, for me, like I get more interested as I get older in how to like seize the day, how to like really dig the miracle of life and rise to the occasion of this great opportunity that was afforded me when this very uh lucky winning cosmic lottery ticket. Like I think more
Right.
about that as I get older, and I find the best way in order to achieve those uh things is to think about death. Like just I think about death all the time, but not like morosely, but like, okay, that's the reference point. That's where we're
Right.
going here. There's only so many summers left. There's only so many winters left. Like when you start thinking of it like that, like, okay, I got 40 more winters. Like if I'm lucky, then you might just not waste the day as likely. So I think it was more ruminations around that.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
like a
it's
motivating factor.
yeah, like, on paper, it's a record about death, but really it's a record about life and, like, waking up to it and really living.
Right. Well, that's one of the reasons why I always love your music because it is this beautiful darkness, the dark sunshine, as I like to refer to it. It has this kind of like when you strip it apart and you look at the bare bones of the poetry, that a lot of these songs are straight up beautiful poetry. But that has that dark undertone. But then, yeah, layered with the harmonies and just the arrangements, kind of give that bright shell, if you will. Just kind of seem so poppy and upbeat and happy on the surface, which is just such a dark like center, which again is just a beautiful part of the art that you create. So many songs on this record I'm a fan of, but let's talk about. Obviously, you had a resurgence in your career on TikTok. I know that we talked about this before, which is just a fantastic story. But with UMG, Universal Music Group, kind of taking away all these artists' music from that platform, was your music taken away from you from TikTok? Are you affected in this UMG deal?
Well, yeah, we have, gosh, how many records? 3 on Universal.
What are the
Luckily,
records?
it's, No Culture, Very Good Bad Thing, and Dance and Cry. So
Okay.
I mean, some tracks out of that discography, I think, are used on TikTok, but and not in a super big viral sense. So we kind of are in the clear there. Like, the earlier songs that really popped off, you can still access. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, you lucked out on that too. Yeah, because like "Oh My Heart" came out in 2008, and it was songs from that record that essentially introduced you to an entire new generation. Which you're selling out shows now on different continents, and you're doing this European run, and seeing the videos of the people being fanatically singing along to all these words. The most difficult part of putting together your set list now, after you have so many albums and music in the can, is what song's the feature, right?
Sure. Yeah. It's always a riddle. Takes me months to like crack the code on the set list. And even when you get out on the road, it changes and you just feel the energy and you kind of have to shift and pivot. I hate it and I love it. It's so gratifying when you get it, but getting there is painful for sure.
Yeah. So, is there what was the song that you decided last minute because you were feeling the energy in the crowd where you're just like, all right, let's do this one real quick and just pull it out of your back pocket?
It was more about like changing the flow than it was about swapping songs.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it's like there's a contour of energy that you really need to be like sensitive to. It's like when you go to a movie, it's like you're supposed to cry when you're supposed to cry. You're supposed to laugh when you're supposed to laugh. Same with the set, like the waves of the volume and the aggression need to like crash and rise just so, in
Yeah.
order to, like for it to be a memorable show.
Oh yeah. Well, I can't wait to see it when you guys come to Phoenix. You guys announced that date, and now you're playing Arizona Federal Financial Theater, which is a bigger and bigger room where you're going. All over the place, performing in front of thousands of people on this European tour. Do you have Upsalt opening up for you?
No. Originally that act was, and then they aren't. I think they
Uh,
couldn't or something. And so we kind of have like different acts opening for us. We have a band called Crawlers that have been opening for us in the UK. Tonight is our last UK show, and Crawlers are sick.
right.
I should check them out. Really
Oh,
good.
I definitely will. It's too bad though because you actually have something in common with Upsall because Upsall is a young a woman artist who grew up listening to Mother on my show. And I actually
Really?
was yes, and I actually was playing her on my radio show when she was 13 years old. Helped introduce her to her manager that got her signed and everything else, and she is phenomenal. So I was so like excited when that initially was announced because I'm like, you guys are like cousins. You don't even know. You're related through beefism. It is amazing. But hopefully that'll happen here one of these days. But it's a small world. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's so cool. I had no idea. Neat.
Yeah. You would have if she ended up doing that tour. So maybe I got to yell at her tour manager. Let's play lyrical breakdown real quick. I'm going to just read one of your lyrics verbatim. I want you to name the song that it's from. Okay.
You want me
So
to name the song?
yeah, and it's your songs. Okay.
Okay. I
All
should
right.
be able to do this.
Yeah. This is a game that was designed for you to win. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, let's start off with straight bars. This is one of my favorite rhymes of the entire album. And it is I paint the pain like a Frito Kahlo, thinking, oh my God, it's another Picasso. I put the mouth where the eyes and ears go.
That would be normalized.
That's right. Yeah. And that just that lyric scheme and just the line itself is like a good punchline. What's your interpretation of that? What were you thinking when you wrote that?
Well, I think it's this whole song is sort of about individuality and how we can, we should have the license to be abstract with how we, you know, present ourselves or how we see ourselves in the world. And so we're kind of likening that concept to these two abstract painters, Frida Kahlo and Pablo Picasso. Picasso's famous for just like mangling up the anatomy and putting the nose, where the eyes go, etc. So
Yeah.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, no, and I just thought that was one of those lyrics where it kind of popped when I heard it, and I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty clever." Some of these songs are just straight poems that are really good. Tell me about there was an interesting line or just the starting line, "To My Heart," where you started off with going back to the start. Was that song inspired? Is it in relation to "Oh My Heart" in a way because it does feel like it's the evolution of that initial inspiration?
I mean, I'd love to say that that was calculated, but it was just a nice little accident. Especially by the time you get to the bridge, like I'm singing the words "Oh my heart,
Yeah.
oh my heart,"
Uh-huh.
and like when I was writing it, I was in the middle of doing that. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm plagiarizing myself here," and I was like, "Oh no, this could
Well,
work. This could be cute." So just kind of rolled with it.
yeah, no, it was a great way to, pay homage to the song without recreating it or plagiarizing it. It was actually off the last album where you did Hayloft too, and that was kind of a reimagination of it, and I thought that was fantastic as well. Especially considering that there was a whole new generation that got caught up in that fantastic story of a young couple hooking up in the barn and getting caught by the dad, and then just kind of continuing that story. So I thought "To My Heart" might have been in the same vein. Let's do another lyric here. This one is pretty simple. Let's see, because some of them are right in there. Let's say I have days that look like miles that can't wait to spit me out.
Mouths. Days that look like mouths.
Mouths, mouths.
Mouths.
I'll
Mouths.
tell you, mouths. Yeah, I'll tell you what. While I was double checking the lyrics on Spotify, they said miles. You gotta write an angry letter
On Spotify, even. Oh man.
on
Blasphemy.
Spotify.
That's not
I
good. No
know.
bueno.
But
Yeah.
days that look like mouse that can't wait to spit me out. That makes a little more sense. But even my interpretation of miles and how the days look longer, it's still connected with me. This is a headbanger, like an anthem, and it's like the most upbeat and positive song about depression that I could think of in recent memory. Where were you when you wrote this song?
I don't even remember. This one's like a couple years old. I think I was on the road. And
Okay.
funnily enough, this was gonna be a song on my solo project's first album. And I recorded it, finished. It was like, pretty thoughtful production. Took me a lot
Yeah.
of work. But then I finished that record and I was like, this song is too good to be on my measly solo album. I think I should save it for Mother Mother. And then we totally refurbished it. And yeah, I really like that one.
Nice. Yeah, and gave it the vocal harmonies that set you apart. That's one of the things I try to explain to people when I try to turn them on to Mother Mother, and it's an easy sell, really is. But what makes you guys so unique is that you guys utilize harmonies and that end up sounding like an orchestra, like a symphony. It is like a 10-piece band just when your three voices connect and a layer throughout the songs. And I think it gives it such a powerful sound and it adds to every different musical structure that you have. And that's one of the reasons why I'm such a fan on all this. Now you even got songs where Molly leads another song here on Grief Chapter, and I believe the song that she takes lead on is what's the name of that song? Forever. Okay, yeah. Beautiful. Even have the song structured where it's like soft, like the tone of her voice. Did you write this song for Molly or did Molly write it?
I wrote it and not necessarily for her. I was kind of just going through old voice memos and stuff. I was on the lookout for the Molly song, which is always kind of a feat unto itself. You really want
Yeah.
to get that one right. And I found this little voice memo. It's just like the first verse of Forever. And I thought, okay, this could really work for her. And then as I started to kind of build the song out, it just turned into this epic. And it was a conscious idea, like, let's make a long song. Let's make Molly's song be a real journey here. So yeah, it was like this little voice memo that kind of spiraled into an opus. Really proud of that one. I think she absolutely killed her
She did.
performance. Yeah, there's parts of that song where she's screaming. Like I've never heard her sing like that in the middle there.
Oh yes, because it builds so wonderfully. Because it starts off so like a gentle and soft, has this big build, big payoff, then they bring it back down. It's the only song on the record that's over 5 minutes. And yeah, it is epic. It's a nice little like roller coaster. Honestly, I wrote my notes like N Spacey on vocal as well, with the acoustic vocal, but just a brilliant
mm,
composition. From going from electric to acoustic and then blended and back. It was musically, it was a journey. So, as far as the composition of this song, it's one of my favorite and I think most impressive of your catalog, especially from this record.
Thanks. Yeah, it's like we just sort of wanted to stretch things out. Like the original incarnation of that song was shorter, and then I think someone in the studio said it should be longer, and then like that seed was planted, and it's like, okay, well then let's get indulgent. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think we just need more of that. Longer songs, like as all the songs are getting shorter in the industry, I think we should just be making them longer, just as an act of rebellion.
Yeah, well, and I do agree because of course the ADD generation, and I understand going short for pop songs, but now you have a fan base that is generational and rabid, so they're more keen to like stay with you on the journey, and be like, okay, let's see where it's going. And there's some songs I felt like could have went even longer and we're going in that direction, like the song that started off Grief Chapter, Nobody Escapes, because it ends with this kind of like Pink Floyd-esque ending, psychedelic ending. But I felt like you could also went another 4 minutes on top of that, just switching lanes and just going this crazy route.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Nobody Escapes. That was like a minute and a half originally, and I was like, this is way too short. So we just kept adding different sections. It has like four. I think there's like four songs in there in one
Yeah.
song. So by the time we like tacked on the last little jazz outro, I was like, okay, enough is enough. Like, let's wrap this up.
Well, I mean, the whole album and stuff is a nice quick listen, and definitely again one of my favorites of you in the top three. So in no order, I go Oh My Heart, Sticks, and now Grief Chapter out of the catalog. So yeah, he's fantastic, and your last album you just released last year too was great as well. So are you like in the zone? You're finding, because I know sometimes it takes a while to find inspiration, but you banged out two full-length albums with a couple like remixes and reimaginations in the last 3 years. So where are you artistically and creatively?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm in the zone. You could call it that, but I think I'm just more disciplined and driven than I ever have been, and probably partially to do with the mother resurgence. It's like this crazy opportunity has been gifted to you from the heavens is sort of what it feels like, and so
Yeah.
you really want to make good by the arrangement, by showing up and really throwing down and like grinding. So that's how I feel. And then also I just, like we were talking about getting older, it's like I just want more better songs out in the world that have
Right.
come from this source. I almost get a little bit anxious when I just think about time ticking away and not devoting it to the creative space, because I just think such good things come from songs, from that effort. The world is made better. My life is made better. It feels like you're earning your salt here on the planet. I feel like that when I'm in the womb of a new song, and when I'm not, I get depressed. And so, and that whole dynamic just gets louder as I get older. So I think it it's only going to get more obsessive for me, I think, as time goes on.
Oh, that's good news for me and other fans out there. So yeah, keep cranking out that music. And I think almost in a way, I would personally have like a little chip on my shoulder, be like, hey, as far as okay, you guys love the songs that we put out in 2008, which I'm grateful for because these are our babies, right? But we've been working hard tirelessly for the last 15 years and only just evolving. And so if you like that, wait till you see what we could do here. What's a song off Grief Chapter that you're most excited to share and perform live in front of new audiences?
I love doing Grief Chapter itself. We open the encore with it. And
Nice.
there's a bit of a preamble, like a bit of a speechy moment. We're just talking about life and death. And, it's the crowd feels connected. We can all relate on these themes. And then you drop the song, and it's like you look out, people start crying. It's super emotional and connected. And it's not loud, it's like it's a soft, tender moment, but the
Mm.
energy is probably bigger emotionally speaking than the whole set, even when you're playing like Hayloft and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to see it. And coming back to Phoenix, I'm going to be there this time. But I'll need your hookup, so I'll be hitting you up on
Oh,
that.
dude, we're forever indebted to you, Beef.
Oh, dude, I love you, man. And honestly, you guys just killing it. I couldn't be prouder. This record is so beautiful. The last 5 years of you cranking out content, music, and showing these kids, what Mother is all about. Again, I'm just excited. I'm going to be playing you on the radio here in a little bit as well. and and I go outside my format to do it. I'm like, you guys understand, like, because as people don't realize that, because you're not a heavy metal band by any means, right? You're definitely like indie, but you get heavy with your riffs, and the energy is that comparable to the same like heavy artists that we play on this station all the time. Headbanging, nodding. I mean, I can't wait to just kind of groove and dance it up, dude. So
cool.
I
Well,
appreciate
thanks so
you.
much, man. That's awesome.
Of course.
You should play Cry Forum on your station if it's a heavy metal station. I think the Cry Forum has our heaviest riff ever.
It does, and I agree with you, but I actually was going to play Explode. And just
nice.
Yes, because and again, that still has that kind of like a pop element, but that riff is like a headbanger to me. I honestly do. Yeah, and I was playing that for Rico as well, and he was stoked on that riff. We're kind of
I'm a big fan of that.
Wayne's worlding it a little bit, right? When it comes
they're not exactly tricking people with the song called "Explode" either.
Right,
it's a very metal sound.
Word painting.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, I know that your publicists are super tight on your schedule, and you got sound check. What time is it where you're at now?
It's 4:02 p.m.
All right. Well, I guess I'll let you get the sound check, but you know how to get a hold of me, and we can continue this conversation at any time, my friend. And I'll be hitting you up. Yeah, I'll be hitting you up when you get back stateside, and we'll plan on it. And I'll make sure that I have the next day off because I know it's a weeknight show. But I'm there seeing your show when you come to Phoenix. 100%. Nothing's going to keep me away from that show. So I look forward to hanging out with you again. And congratulations. And spread that to everyone. All right. Molly, Jasmine, Allie, everyone. They all did fantastic sonically. The album's so large and beautifully written that I'm just proud. I'm proud of you guys and happy for you.
Thanks, brother. You're the best. We all love you. We all appreciate you. And thanks for having me. It's good to see you again.